This week, I want to talk to you about pre-production and all the little things you'll want to keep in mind before you get to your shoot. Before I begin, I'd just like to ask you to click the subscribe button if you're enjoying Indie Inclinations. I'd really appreciate it. It's nice to know there's people out there watching. Okay, there's obviously a lot that goes on during pre-production. There's casting, there's location scouting, there's setting your schedule, which is good to have a line producer do, somebody who really knows how much time you're going to need for each page of your script, and so on. Those are pretty basic things, and if you don't know them all, you can certainly Google it. So I want to talk to you about the little things people don't always think about. One, if you have outdoor days, put them at the beginning of your shoot. This way, if it rains, if just terrible weather, you can move those days to a later date. And make sure you have something you can move easily to those first few days so you're not losing time. That means making sure your actors are available on those days, no matter which way you end up going. And that's something that's very important. I know somebody who put together a whole shooting schedule, had told their actors we're shooting these weeks, but didn't give specific dates to actors. And those actors, they have to book themselves. They can't wait around. They know they're not going to be on every day of your shoot. They're only going to be on a couple. And then they went back, they did their whole schedule, and some of their actors weren't available. So they had to redo their schedule. So it's really important that you get that schedule done early on, get your actors locked into their dates, and don't wait until the last minute thinking, oh, they'll be available, because they may not. Keep your crew in mind when you're picking locations. Don't pick a location that's a 4-flight walk-up. Okay, it may be the cheap location, but you have to remember your crew is lugging heavy equipment. You're going to lose a lot of time too. But the bigger thing is the human issue. You're going to have tired crew. They're going to have to load up. They're going to have to load out. Now, an exception to this might be you're doing a small shoot with limited equipment and you're shooting it all in that one 4-flight walk-up. So you're loading up once, you're there for the week, and then you're leaving. And maybe you just have a load-in day. That's the nice thing to do. Have a morning or an afternoon where you just load it all in and everybody goes home. And then the next day you start the setup. Or maybe you do your setup after the load-in. You set up your first set. You approximate it because your actors aren't there. And then you start the next day. That's a nice thing to do if you're going to put somebody through lugging up heavy equipment. But if you have a shoot day where you're only going to be in the location for 2 hours, you have very limited shooting that you need to do in a location, like I'm talking shoot hours, don't make people load in. It's going to take them longer to load in and load out than it is for you to do your shoot. That's just so unfair and cruel. Don't do that to people. You'll get a bad reputation. Don't do it. Food. It's one thing if you're on a very high budget film and you can afford good craft services, right? You can have the best buffet, you can have lots of snacks, that's great. But when you're on a limited budget, I've seen a lot of people say, oh no, I have to get an official person to do craft services, and they hire someone who's very affordable, and then the food is terrible because you have to pay that person and whoever's helping them to do their job. If you're in a city like New York City, where you can get a lot of delivery. I mean, it does depend where you are. Sometimes you don't have a choice. You need somebody to make food and bring it in. But sometimes you're in a city like New York City, you can do what's called takeout. All right, you assign a crew member, a PA, to be in charge of getting everybody's order every day at the right time so that the delivery comes in time for lunch. And you make sure that everybody has options that they can eat. So you ask your actors and your crew, don't forget about them, if they have any eating restrictions. Are they vegetarian? Are they vegan? Do they have gluten intolerance? What's the deal? So you make sure that you have menus that cover everyone. In New York City, you can order $10 off a menu and they'll deliver. So you can have people ordering from different places. It makes it harder for the PA, but you can if you need to. And also, a lot of people say, oh, don't ever put pizza on your set. That's just immature. Well, actually, some people really love pizza. I don't eat pizza. But I know other people who absolutely love pizza. They would eat it every day. So you can ask your crew, do you want a pizza day this week? And again, if there's somebody who doesn't eat it, you have an alternate menu for them. And you just tell them the price point. Like, hey, you can't order the $40 meal. Please order off the lunch menu. And I'm telling you, it's going to break down to less money than your craft services or equal money, depending on who you were going to hire. But your people are going to be happier because they're picking their meal. The other thing is make sure every morning that PA goes out and brings in food for breakfast. That food might include things like bagels and donuts and muffins and all that kind of stuff, but it also needs to include some healthy options like cut vegetables, yogurt, maybe little oatmeal packets if you're in a place with a microwave where people can make their own oatmeal. Whatever it is, ask your actors, ask your crew what they like to eat, and make sure you have some options available for them. It's not hard, you get into a routine with it. And then that PA should also pick up snacks to have throughout the day, which might include fruit as well as candy, as well as beef jerky. Beef jerky is a big one for some crew members. It has a lot of protein. I know it's totally unhealthy, but it does have a lot of protein in it, and people like to eat that. So if that's what they want, get it for them. Let's not have judgment, okay? See what people want. I was on a set once and I was told, oh, well, you probably want to have salads for lunch and, some vegetables. And I was like, no, I eat meat and I need carbs. I can't get through the day without that. And they just had this thing in their head, well, you're a female director, you must want to eat salad. So don't do that. Don't be that person, and come up with a menu that works for everyone. It's all about consideration here. That's really what I'm talking to you about. Don't get so wrapped up in your film that you forget about the humans that are working with you. Make sure you sit with your DP and explain your shot list and send visual references. Don't talk about it so much with words. Show them films that have shots that are similar to what you want so they understand what you're going for and they can determine whether or not you can actually do that in the location you're in with the time and the money you have. Make sure your AD's involved so that they can see how many shots you have and talk you off that ledge when you have too many. When you're in pre-production, it's really important you think about schedule and how much you can get done in a day. So if you don't have a line producer on, sit and really think about how long everything's going to take. I had someone ask me once if I thought they could go to 3 different locations in one day. And I just stared at them. I didn't even know what to say. It takes 2 hours to load into a location. Do the math. You can't do it in one day. It's not possible. You need to have at least 2 days. You can do 2 locations in a day if they're not too far away from each other and they're an easy load in. But you can't do 3. That's crazy unless you're going to do a 20-hour day. And that's not fair to anybody. Just shoot for 2 days. That's the way that works. But seriously, really break it down because you might think you can get a lot done. I always tell people, think about how long you think it's going to take and then double it. Just double it. Give yourself extra time. It's always going to take longer than you think. And you can always get extra shots if you have extra time in your day. Or you can let people go home a little bit early and have a nice normal day. Most set days are at least 10 hours, if not 12. You shouldn't go over that. 12 is really pushing it. You should really try to stick to around 10. But they're never 8. So if you can give somebody an 8-hour day once in a while, that's really nice. So the moral of all of this is think about the people. What would you want if you were working for someone on a set?